My name is Aaron Fletcher, and I am the co-owner of Fletcher's Corny Dogs, and I'm also the CEO of the company. Customer service is so important to us. We always say we take one complaint, more serious than 1,000 compliments. Typically on a busy fair year, we can sell anywhere between 500 to 600,000 corny dogs. Of that, we might get 3 to 4 complaints, and we will put boots to the ground, and we're going to whatever stand that person was at, and we're trying to figure out. It's important, to do that, and I think that's why we've been able to stay in business for 82 years. I mean, that's always been our thing, is we want to have happy. Actually, my mom says we don't call them customers, we call them fans. We want to have happy fans. So that's always just been, our priority, really. I grew up in a white household. I grew up in the suburbs, so being out here was really my only exposure to that part of my identity. So as I got older, I was kind of like, man, I want to explore this more, and it's kind of just become a thing for me where I don't want to say like I'm a social justice champion guy, but it's just been very important to me to naturally have diversity and inclusion in this company. I want people to feel like Fletcher's is for everybody. My dad was 82 when he passed, and my dad, he was probably, for where he came from and his age, he was probably the most open guy like I've ever known. He was so proud of like what I looked like, my skin color, everything. He was like, don't ever let anybody put you down for that. He's like, that's the most special thing that you have. God made you the way that you are, and you need to own that. You're special. And he knew. It was interesting. I found a journal that he had written me right after he passed, and he had written in there, and I had no idea, but he knew, because he wrote, people are going to have an issue with what you look like. And that was just so eye-opening for me when I read that, even as an adult, because I had kind of gone around and kind of kept my eyes closed to certain situations and things that were said, and it was just like, once I read that, I was like, oh, maybe I have been treated a little bit differently, So yeah, it's been a learning experience, just being out here and really just trying to.
Would you say your dad's your hero?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. He was probably one of the best people that I've ever known, just as a human being. And I'm not saying that because he was my dad, but I mean, he was just like the most loving, caring, open. He didn't care who you were, where you were from, or whatever. His arms were open until you gave him a reason to push it away. That was it. So, and I strive to be like that. It's just one of those things where I want everybody to feel comfortable. I want everybody to feel like they're going to be heard, that they're going to be understood, that they matter. I don't want anybody to ever feel like, especially in this company, I don't want anybody to ever feel like the door is closed. I want them to feel like, hey, I got an issue, no matter how small or big it is, I can call Aaron, or I can go up to him and I can talk to him about it. And sometimes people take advantage of that, and I get some weird little small issues, like so-and-so hurt my feelings, but sometimes you gotta do those so that you can get to the big issues, and really just make everybody understand, like, okay, this is a company that cares about us, because we have so many return employees, and that's one of the things that they always say is, I love working for Fletcher because it feels like they care. When I came down here, it might as well have been just like going down the street, pretty much. I mean, sure, things look different and stuff, but my dad, always made sure from that young age that I never felt different about the area or looked at anybody different. And I didn't. So when I was down here, there's videos of me when I was a little kid, and I'm all around it, because our employees have always been primarily black. So you got me as like a little kid, and I'm just out there dancing around with them and stuff. So that was just kind of like my thing, is like I never looked at it any different. It was just kind of like, so when people start, as I got older, and there were people like, oh man, you go down there, you avoid those areas or this area, and it was kind of like, I didn't know you were supposed to. Like I'm just down there, like no one bats an eye at me or anything like that. So I've never had really any kind of feeling of like I don't belong in this area, you know. And I've always thought that was pretty cool. Like I've always felt very accepted by, you know, down here I had a friend of mine, you know. So growing up in the suburbs, a lot of my friends are white, and I had another friend of mine who his family actually owns Odom's Barbecue over here. And I remember he grew up in the suburbs with me, and he's like, it was late at night, and so it was me and him, and then we had like 3 of my like white friends with me, and we go over there, and they're all sitting there like in the back of the car, just like, oh man, we gotta get out of here. And we're just like hanging out like 2 a.m, just like, nah man, they're gonna give us some ribs, you know. So it's just kind of just been like one of those things where I was just like, I don't know, I just always felt just like, you know, a place is a place, you know. I've never had to think twice about where I go down here.